Hello film fans and welcome to ClassAct, a series where we break down movies sequence by sequence in order to better understand how they were written. In this episode, we're sinking our teeth into the Academy Award-winning masterpiece Parasite, written by Bong Joon-ho and Jin-won. Now, if you're a screenwriter or a filmmaker or like a dentist, you have to see this movie. Everyone should see this movie. Not only is it masterfully plotted and scary and funny, it's kind of like sitting down with a philosopher for 2 hours and having a deep conversation about class and society and ethics. Plotting out Parasite, it does take a super creative approach to its 3-act structure. The first act ends at minute 20, and the second act ends at minute 100, with the inciting incident at minute 9, the midpoint at minute 56, and the climax at minute 110. Alright, so let's go step by step through the structure of the movie, starting with the first 9 minutes, the introduction of the heroes. We meet the Kim family in their bug-infested apartment where they live cramped and hungry in an impoverished neighborhood. There are 4 main family members, and right up front, please do forgive my possible errors in pronouncing names. I promise I did my best. The 4 members of the Kim family are the father Ki-taek, mother Chung-suk, daughter Ki-young, and son Ki-woo. Right away, the sequence establishes the Kim's normal, everyday world, a world in which they have to leech off the resources of other people in order to survive. From stealing Wi-Fi from their neighbors to stealing bug spray from the fumigators outside, the Kims are expert manipulators, and much like the stink bugs acting as parasites in their own home, no matter how bad things get, they always seem to find a way to stay alive. The sequence also sets up 3 major motifs that will repeat themselves throughout the rest of the film. First is the recurring theme of having a plan. Whatever problems come up, the Kims rely on their father Ki-taek to think of a plan to get them out of it. Second is the image of the urinating man who drunkenly hobbles over and handles his business right on the Kim's apartment window. This visually represents the idea of society pissing all over the lower class and the lower class's inability to do anything about it. And finally, Ki-woo's good friend Min arrives with a gift for the Kim family, which is thematic symbol number 3, the Scholar's Rock. This rock is said to bring material wealth and success to whoever owns it, an idea that the Kim family sarcastically makes fun of, showing the audience how they view themselves and their society. The Scholar's Rock is silly to them because the whole idea of ever becoming wealthy is silly to them. After all, they live at the bottom of a strict social hierarchy, and breaking free of that system is impossible for people to do. Catching up over a drink, Min tells Ki-woo about the rich family he works for as an English tutor, leading us right into minute 9, the inciting incident. In this moment, Min informs Ki-woo that he's leaving to study abroad and suggests that Ki-woo take over for him as the English tutor for the rich family's daughter, Da-hai. Now, it's important to note what the universe is asking of Ki-woo in this moment. In his old life, he and his family were trapped at the bottom rung of society with no way to climb up the ladder, but now the universe is challenging him to believe in the impossible, that the poor can change their class and the strict social hierarchy of society can be broken. Naturally, this is interesting to Ki-woo, and for the next 11 minutes, from 9 to 20, we see him put all the pieces in place to accept this dangerous mission. First, his sister Ki-young uses her Photoshop skills to help him forge a fake college transcript. Returning to the theme of having a plan, Ki-woo's father sends him off with a word of encouragement.
너는 계획이 다 있구나.
Ki-woo sets off for his job interview, hiking literally and metaphorically uphill into the upper-class neighborhood of the ultra-wealthy Park family. It's here at the Park's house that he meets Mrs. Park, the gullible and undiscerning mother of his soon-to-be pupil, Da-hai. Mrs. Park watches Ki-woo tutor Da-hai, and miraculously, Ki-woo nails the audition and gets the job. Sure enough, Mrs. Park pays him real money, and before sending him away, she introduces him to her young son, Da-song, a rambunctious little boy who's too rowdy for the extracurricular activity his mom has picked for him, art. Sadly, all of Da-song's tutors have quit after only a month, meaning Mrs. Park is again looking for a new art teacher to hire. Hearing this information, Ki-woo's face lights up with an idea, leading us right into minute 20, the end of Act 1. In an energetic performance, Ki-woo offers to introduce Mrs. Park to a brilliant art teacher he knows who just finished her world-class college education in America, his sister Ki-young. With this act, Ki-woo officially accepts the universe's challenge. He will attempt to defy the social order, change his family's class, and break the hierarchical rules of society.
어머, 너무 궁금하네요. 어떤 분이실까?
만나 보시겠어요?
It's time for Act 2. Act 2 of Parasite can be looked at in 3 major segments, the first of which runs about 36 minutes from 20 to 56. Now, I'm a sucker for heist films, and what I love so much about this segment is that it plays just like Ocean's 11, with the Kim family being the heist crew and each crew member playing a special role in the big plan, getting all the members of Mr. and Mrs. Park's housekeeping staff fired and replacing them one by one with members of the Kim family. The heist kicks off with Ki-young, who poses as an artistic savant named Jessica and tricks the gullible Mrs. Park into hiring her as Da-song's new art teacher.
그렇기 때문에 저의 급여가 상당히 높은 수준으로 책정이 된 것 같은데 괜찮으시겠어요?
제가 더 감사하죠.
While Ki-woo is upstairs starting a secret romance with Da-hai, the Park family offers Ki-young a ride home, which is how she meets the next victim of the big heist, the Park family chauffeur. Quietly, Ki-young leaves her underwear in the back seat of the Lexus, setting up Mr. Park to find them and accuse his chauffeur of being a pervert. And with the driver now fired, Ki-young can recommend a new chauffeur to Mrs. Park, the best driver she's ever met, her father, Ki-taek. Repeating the pattern again, it's now Ki-taek's turn for his big audition, and thanks to some last-minute studying at the local Lexus dealership, he poses as an old driver named Mr. Kim and passes the audition with flying colors, getting officially hired by Mr. Park as the new family chauffeur. This leaves the Kims with just one last staff member to eliminate, the housekeeper Moon Gwang, who's worked at this same house for multiple generations of owners. Now obviously this one's going to be tricky, so it requires the whole heist crew to work together. Ki-woo uses his romance with Da-hai to get intel about the housekeeper's one weakness, her extreme allergy to peaches. Seizing on the opportunity, Ki-young then steals a peach from the local market and sprinkles the peach fuzz into the housekeeper's hair, causing her to race to the hospital, where Ki-taek snaps a picture of her and uses it to convince Mrs. Park that her housekeeper is contagious with tuberculosis. Obviously not wanting her children to catch TB, Mrs. Park fires the housekeeper, leading Ki-taek and Ki-young to set up a fake VIP maid service for the Parks to hire someone new. And with that, the heist is complete. Chung-suk gets hired as the new housekeeper, and the Kims have officially done it. They've installed their whole family as parasites, feeding off the luxurious lives of the wealthy and oblivious Parks. As the Kims celebrate their good fortune, we return back to the symbol of the urinating man, who tries again to symbolically piss on the poor, only to be met this time by a newly emboldened Kim family that refuses to be pissed on. Now, even though there's no formal villain in the story, I kinda like to think of the villain as the cosmic possibility of getting caught, which takes a couple different forms over the next 60 or so minutes. Our first check-in with the villain happens just before the midpoint, when Da-song, the little boy, notices that the entire housekeeping staff kinda smells the same. This causes the Kims to more carefully perfect their scheme by each using a different shampoo and laundry detergent, and with their hooks now firmly in place, the Kims send the Park family off for a relaxing weekend vacation, which brings us right into minute 56, the midpoint of the film, in which the Kims enjoy a rich, luxurious night alone in their brand new house. In this moment, they've achieved everything they ever dreamed of. They're making money, living like royalty, and with Ki-woo and Da-hai's romance heating up, who knows, they might even be the Park family's future in-laws. Unfortunately, the victory is short-lived, as we now enter the back half of Act 2, in which everything that could possibly go wrong does. Now, Alfred Hitchcock had this great quote about the difference between surprise and suspense, with surprise being the audience's shocking experience of a bomb exploding when they didn't know there was a bomb in the first place. Suspense, on the other hand, is defined as the audience knowing about the bomb the whole time and feeling tension as the characters walk around while the bomb might explode at any second. This is exactly how Parasite divides up the two sections of the roll downhill. First, we get about 17 minutes of extreme surprise, followed by 20 or so minutes of insane suspense. In the first section, from minutes 63 to 80, the doorbell rings, and to the Kim's surprise, it's Moon Gwang, the ex-housekeeper. The family reluctantly lets her in, and she leads them downstairs to the basement, revealing what I personally consider to be one of the craziest midpoint twists ever, that there's a secret bomb shelter underneath the Park's house where Moon Gwang's own husband has been living for 4 years and hiding from dangerous loan sharks. Recognizing fellow parasites when she sees them, Moon Gwang catches on to the Kim family's elaborate con and flips the script on them by recording evidence on her phone and holding the whole family hostage. Desperate, the Kims fight back, and just as they manage to delete the damning evidence, the situation gets even worse as the Parks call to say that they're canceling their vacation due to rain and coming home in less than 10 minutes. That is, of course, a very bad surprise, and it sets off a flurry of frantic action as Chung-suk scrambles to cook dinner while the rest of the family cleans and hogties Moon-gwang and her husband to keep them silent in the basement. In the struggle, Moon-gwang gets kicked down the stairs, suffering a fatal blow to the head as the Parks return home and the Kim family scrambles into hiding spots all around the house. And with the stage now set, we move into the next section from minutes 80 to 100, which is all about suspense, as the audience now knows there's a Hitchcockian bomb in the house that could potentially explode at any minute. Hiding under beds, tables, and the actual floor, the Kim family stays frozen and silent as they now listen to their victims walk around and learn new information about them. First, Ki-taek learns that the housekeeper's husband is creepily obsessed with Mr. Park, idolizing him like a god for keeping him fed and sheltered all these years. He even communicates secret messages to the family in Morse code by flickering the lights on and off in their house. Super creepy. Once again, we see Ki-taek's theme of having a plan.
앞으로 어떡하려고 그래? 당신 계획도 없지?
While back upstairs, Chung-suk learns the story of why little Da-song needs an art teacher in the first place. It's a form of trauma therapy resulting from an incident in first grade where he saw Moon-gwang's husband in the house and thought he was a ghost. By the way, two little details I really love. Look at how this composition visually shows off how the rich feel about the poor. In Bong Joon-ho's universe, the rich literally view the poor as scary ghosts hiding in the basement that they don't ever want to see. Also, notice how earlier in the film there were only 8 chairs at the dinner table representing the Park family and all of their parasites, who at the time were Moon-gwang and her husband downstairs, the chauffeur, and of course Ki-woo, who was just at the time getting hired. But now there are 10 seats at the dinner table because more parasites have latched on. The chairs now represent the full Park family, the full Kim family, and Moon-gwang and her husband. I mean, that's just come on. Trying to quietly escape, the Kim family is forced to hide under the living room table while Mr. and Mrs. Park inconveniently decide to sleep on the couch right in front of them in order to watch Da-song while he camps outside. In this moment, Ki-taek is forced to sit and listen while the Parks talk about how bad he smells, a view they share about all poor people, and after a few beats of unbearable suspense, the Kims finally escape and run all the way down to the lowest rung of society, where they discover their house and possessions have all been flooded by the rain and destroyed. We get a quick check-in with the cosmic villain as Moon-gwang unties her husband and dies, leading us right into the end of Act 2 at minute 100. At this point, the Kim family has lost everything. Their home is destroyed, they've accidentally become murderers, and Ki-taek has finally lost faith in his core belief of always having a plan.
계획을 하면 반드시 계획대로 안 되거든, 인생이.
In this moment, Ki-woo makes a decision, the one decision he never would have made at the beginning of the film, to murder Moon-gwang's husband and complete his transformation into a true rich person, ruthless, uncaring, and willing to do whatever it takes to protect his wealth.
제가 책임질게요.
Act 3 begins with a 10-minute segment from 100 to 110 in which the Kims help Mrs. Park prepare a surprise birthday party for Da-song. Back in action, the heist crew each plays their unique role, and Ki-woo brings out his murder weapon, the Scholar's Rock, which will now finally fulfill its true purpose of bringing material wealth to the Kim family. And with the dominoes set up to fall, it's time for the main event at minute 110, the climax, in which Moon-gwang's husband turns the tables on Ki-woo, bashing him in the head with the Scholar's Rock and emerging into the sunlight, where he stabs Ki-young in the heart and attacks Chung-suk, who he knows killed his wife. Okay, so this is my favorite scene because in 60 seconds, every new shot pays off a different theme or character arc in this kind of swirling domino effect. First, Da-song sees the ghost from his first grade trauma and passes out, representing that idea that the rich are suddenly now being forced to see the poor out in the open, and it's terrifying to them. This causes Mr. Park to panic and ignore all the suffering poor people as he scrambles to get his fainting son to the hospital, again exemplifying the rich ignoring the suffering of the poor in order to protect their own kind. Then, just as Chung-suk kills her attacker, Mr. Park goes for the Lexus keys and gets a whiff of poor person smell, which causes him to gag. This, of course, catches the attention of Ki-taek, who's fed up with being treated as less than human by the rich. He stabs Mr. Park in the heart, signaling that when a class of people is ignored for long enough, they'll eventually snap and rise up against their oppressors. But my favorite shot is this reaction of Mrs. Park, who has no emotion about her husband being stabbed right in front of her. It's like Bong Joon-ho is turning the camera around to remind us, hey, by the way, the rich don't love each other either. With nowhere to run, Ki-taek goes with the only option he has and escapes to the basement bunker, replacing Moon-gwang's husband as the house's new parasite. Frankly, the movie would already be Oscar-worthy if it ended right there, but Parasite really tears away from the pack in its last 11 minutes. Waking up in the hospital, Ki-woo learns that his sister is dead and his father has disappeared. Together, he and his mom return to the bottom rung of the social ladder. Vowing to rescue his father, he goes back to the Parasite house and sees a message from Ki-taek in Morse code confirming that he is in fact still alive. Ki-woo follows through with his promise. He grows up, goes to college, gets filthy rich, and comes back to buy the house, finally reuniting with his dad and bringing wealth and happiness to the family, until we realize it was all a fantasy and never actually happened. As the screen fades to black, the writers leave us sitting there with a question. Should Ki-woo dare to make another plan, or should the lower class just accept that they'll never break free of the social order? And that's it. Parasite in 3 acts. Watching this movie is honestly like watching Michael Jordan in the 90s. As writers know, it's hard enough to land one theme successfully, and yet Parasite somehow manages to weave together 5 or 6 and still make funny callback jokes. It's a film that's completely in control of what it wants to say, and I'd say it's essential viewing for anyone trying to educate themselves about how to write a great story. Obviously, I love to study this stuff, so please do leave your own analyses down below in the comments, and feel free to like and subscribe for more breakdowns of movies in the 3-act model and beyond. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on ClassAct.